Hello and welcome to FPL Mate, your best mate for Fantasy Premier League content. We are back, this time for Game Week 10, double figures. We are officially past at the quarterway stage of the season, which is pretty crazy, right guys? We're getting there, interesting game to finish off the week. I don't think anyone was expecting too much from the defenses in this game, but Saka playing, Salah coming through as well at the end of the game there. It was there were points to be had for the premium players this week, that's for sure. All of Palmer, Saka and Salah all got points today. Pretty crazy. Some points for Haaland as well, but we will need to address that particular elephant in the room, but that's fine. We will talk about that because obviously, guys, I did use my triple captain chip in game week 9 here. Interesting. I mean, if I hadn't had a good week elsewhere, then I would not be... I'd be more concerned if I had a bad week, but I didn't. Thankfully, it was a pretty good week for me. 70 points for now, but we're going to get 3 bonus from Palmer and 1 bonus from Henderson, I believe. So that's going to bring me up to 74 points, if my maths is correct. Let's just double check on here. 74 points, yeah. So up to 800k. So a nice little green arrow for me. I think anyone who's scored 70 plus points can probably feel pretty happy with their game week. But let's start off by talking about Haaland, because I know this is probably going to be this is going to be probably the biggest topic of the week. If we're looking at reactions from the previous game week, it's certainly up there. And I've got a fair amount to say on it, to be honest. I didn't speak about it really on Twitter or social media because I didn't really think that's the place to talk about it. But if you didn't triple captain Haaland this week, you're probably feeling pretty pleased. You're probably feeling like you got away with that one. There will be a lot of people saying, well, I told you shouldn't have played the triple captainship, and that's fair enough depending on what your reasons are. Some people will say, oh, you shouldn't have done that. I know hindsight is a wonderful thing, but some people will say, oh, you shouldn't have done that. You should always try and play the triple captainship on a double game week. But as we know, there's not going to be very many double game weeks this season, as the FA Cup replays have changed things, and I think a lot of people who are saying that they will use their triple captain on a double game week, I think a lot of you will actually end up using it on a single game week. I think you will. I think you'll be surprised. The other thing is, a lot of people will say you shouldn't have triple captained Haaland because he was never going to get chances to score in a game without De Bruyne or Rodri or whatever. He was always gonna not be able to score very many goals. Well, it's not exactly what happened either, is it? It was an extreme case of variance. I know some people hate that word, but Haaland, if you watch the game, you will know this. He missed pretty much 2 open goals in that game. It was bizarre. Now, if you kind of went at you go at this argument, oh, you shouldn't have played your triple captainship on Haaland in game week 9, and your opinion is, well, Haaland is a bad finisher, so I didn't, or maybe you think he's out of form and you didn't think he was going to finish the chances that he did get in the game, then I guess that's fair enough. There's nothing wrong with that. But the fact is, this is a strange situation. I know this is definitely cope, and I do want to definitely say that the triple captain on Haaland in game week 9 was a failure. It absolutely was a failure. If you want to look at what is a failure and what isn't a failure, you only need to look at the points. But there's not really much you can do about that after it's happened. We could always look back and say, oh, I should have triple captained Haaland in game week 2, maybe. Or should you have captained Palmer when he played against Brighton or Wolves? That would have been even better. So, we can all look back and say, shouldn't have done this, should have done this. But I think the most important thing to do is to judge the process. Was it a bad decision? Can I learn from it going forward? And do I feel like I've learned from it? Not really. If you told me that Haaland was going to get 2.33 XG in game week 9, which, by the way, I think is something like his third best ever XG total since playing in the Premier League. And he's, only a couple of times in Haaland's time in the Premier League has he had more opportunities to score goals than this one. More chances than against West Ham and Ipswich, where he got the hat-trick. Far more than against Brentford in Game Week 4 when he scored a brace. It would be great if we could tell the future, but all we can do is try and make predictions, and people who triple captained Haaland in Game Week 9 predicted that Haaland will have a lot of chances to score against Southampton, which he did, but they also predicted that Haaland would finish the chances with him being possibly the best striker, best finisher in world football, which I also think is a totally valid reason to triple captain someone. So the process, I think, is fine. Was it a fail? Yes, it was. But we must question the decisions and not the outcomes, and that's what I'll always say. I think a lot of people who maybe are less experienced managers will judge the outcome before they judge the decision. But I think it's important that we kind of look at this for what it is. And it's bad luck for Haaland on owners, captainers, triple captainers. It's bad luck. That is FPL, by the way. We have to accept that as part of the game of FPL. Sometimes you are going to get some bad luck. Often you're going to get some bad luck. Sometimes you're also going to get some good luck as well. You can't have it all the time. For me, I may have got some bad luck with Haaland, but maybe I got some good luck elsewhere, Henderson was not expecting a clean sheet against Spurs for him, and of course Spurs did look really, really poor in that game, but I still consider myself reasonably lucky to have got a clean sheet from Henderson against Spurs. I was not expecting that at all. So, good luck, bad luck, hopefully it balances it out, but if you keep making good decisions, then you're going to hopefully find yourself on the end of good luck more often than bad luck. So there we go. A good week for me, all in all. Do I regret using the triple captain chip? Yes, but only because I have the benefit of hindsight and I know how many points he got. And I think that's going to be the same for a lot of people. How many points did I get? 74. So it was a good week for me. It was a good week for me. I'm not complaining about my points total. I'm not even complaining about the Haaland triple captain. I mean, some of you guys will know that it can get far worse than this. I've seen a lot of people triple captaining players who've scored like 1 or 2 points. That's a lot worse. I mean, is it a lot worse? Not really. The other thing with the triple captain as well, and this is the final thing I'll say on this, and I know those who didn't use the triple captain will probably want me to sit here and be miserable and say, oh, life isn't fair. My triple captain didn't score me goals. I know. Look, I get it. It is fun to have some banter when your rivals, those who you're trying to compete with in FPL, when they don't score as many points as you, maybe. It's fun. It's part of FPL. Someone that has a bad game week, you say, haha, bad game week for you. And you pick yourself up and you go again the next game week. But I mean, look, I can't really criticize the decision-making process. I don't think anyone here will be able to find a valid reason to say why triple captaining Haaland was objectively wrong. You could say I would prefer to triple captain on a double game week and hope there's a double game week for you to triple captain on. You can say I was a little bit worried about Haaland's finishing. I think that would be valid to say. I think that, if you said that before the game and you said Haaland, I'm not sure if he's, in his best clinical moment, then that's completely valid. But a lot of the reasons people are saying it was a bad idea is just hindsight. And that's fair enough. Hindsight is a wonderful thing. If we all had the benefit of hindsight, I think we would be... well, I don't know. It was a bad decision because of poor form. Yeah, if you said that before, then maybe. He had just scored twice, though, in the Champions League, so that argument only goes so far. But I get it. But a lot of people didn't say that. A lot of people said, don't want to triple captain in a single game week. That's just a preference thing. And a lot of people who are saying that will triple captain in a single game week, by the way. And other people said, I don't think without De Bruyne without Rodri, I don't think Haaland will have many chances to score. And that wasn't true either. And a lot of Haaland's poor form has been because he hasn't had chances to score, not because he hasn't been finishing them. So we can go round and round in circles on this one. I don't care that. I don't care that much. You know, someone worked it out on Twitter, and it was something like, you know, you have 11 players. Well, 11 players, 12 if you double the points of your captain. Throughout the season, and hang on, let me get my calculator out. So let's say 12 players throughout the season times 38 game weeks plus 4 players that you'll have in your bench boost, it equals 460. Your triple captainship just adds 1 additional player to play if you want to think about it that way. So 400, you have 461 players in the game week in a season. This is just one of them. No big deal. We move on. So there you go. Haaland addressed. Hopefully we never have to speak about that anyone again. I'm sure people will still be like, no, it was a bad decision. Whatever. Don't care. Right. I actually do have some decisions to make, by the way, for my team this week. Maybe we'll go over that later. But I think the big news from today is that Gabriel injury. And it didn't look too good. I think we will see him out for a couple of game weeks, to be honest. I think we will. So we need to kind of discuss who the Gabriel replacements are for those of you guys who do have Gabriel in your FPL teams, because it is something. It is something, and we are going to have to think about it. Am I logged into my FPL? No, I'm actually not even logged in. Right, hang on. Let me just log into my FPL account quickly. Get the 2-factor and go in quickly. Where are you, FPL? Right. And we're in. So, if you're selling Gabriel, who are we bringing in? Let's look at some defenders. I think the obvious plays are Aït-Nouri and Gvardiol. And those are the 2 players we mentioned last game week as well. If we see who are what other, have I missed anyone? Is it these 2 are the main guys? I mean, we could potentially look at Konate there as well if you wanted to just go cheap-ish Liverpool defender for the long term. Lewis. I mean, people will buy Keane, but I think I'd be very concerned with Keane moving forward because Branthwaite has got some minutes off the bench in Gameweek 9. So I think Keane's time in the starting 11 for Everton are limited. It's really tough though. I think we maybe have a look at some Nottingham Forest defenders. We can maybe have a look at I don't know. Honestly, guys, it is so tough. It is so tough. Let's have a look at. We need some help. We need some help. Fantasy Football Hub have got our back. Of course, guys, if you want to check out Fantasy Football Hub, link in the description. Free trial available at the moment. So let's go for, like, you know, we want a defender who can sort us out for a decent amount of time here. 10 to 14. It is throwing Gvardiol up at the top here. Is that super obvious? I think it is. I think Gvardiol is the really obvious replacement. And I think some people may already have both. And if so, it gets a little tougher. I don't know. I appreciate that Trent is, like, if you have him, you probably just keep him. But I don't know if he is a must-have if we also want to try and spend more money on premium players. If you're thinking about selling Haaland soon, then maybe Trent could come in. Because if you sell Haaland, then you're going to have loads of spare cash to be able to have players like Trent. So that could work. Not sure I'd go for Robertson. He has just kind of looked off it a little bit. And I say this as someone who owns Robertson. I'm a little bit concerned about him. He's looked off it the last couple of game weeks. I do worry if we might see a little bit more rotation with him and Tsimikas. Aït-Nouri is nice. 4.5 million. He is on 4 yellow cards. That is one concern. Once he gets his 5th yellow card, he will be suspended. So if you have cover, I think it's fine to go for Aït-Nouri still. If you've got a defender on your bench, unlike me, who, you know, I have nothing on my bench. So if I had Gabriel right now, I'd probably be a little bit worried about going Aït-Nouri. A little bit worried, a little bit. Yeah, one concern, someone in the chat says, Scott says, I'm not sure about Gavardio. Are the fixtures that good? Not really, but, I mean, Gavardio is more than just clean sheets. And by the way, the best teams will keep clean sheets in any game. It doesn't really matter who their opposition is. They'll often find a way to clean sheets. But Gavardio is also taking a lot of shots. He's getting in a lot of dangerous areas. He's creating chances for his teammates. So you've got multiple avenues to points with a player like Gavardio, which is nice. The bigger concern for him is the potential occasional rotation. I think that's more concerning to me than the fixtures. But yeah, if you watch Spurs today, you'll know that game week 12 is fine. The next few game weeks, they're not great fixtures, don't get me wrong. But Man City can keep a clean sheet against anyone. And clean sheets are so random anyway. I think we probably need to look at attacking returns more than the clean sheets. So, yeah, Gavardio, Aït-Nouri. You could maybe go for Lewis. But honestly, outside of that, I'm struggling, man. I don't think I'd want to touch Spurs from this point. It's probably a pretty poor time to hop on Spurs. Because they've got Aston Villa, City, even Fulham and Bournemouth for tough games. And there's Chelsea and Liverpool. For a defence, that's not ideal. Argument to go for a Brentford defender? Probably pretty limited, given that Brentford are so poor defensively. Ipswich are poor defensively, so you're not going to go for Davis. Do we think that Aston Villa can turn it around? I mean, you'd at least give them a few game weeks to get Spurs, Liverpool and Chelsea all away from home out the way in the next 4. So I'm not sure these are players to buy either. It's crazy. The pool of defenders we're picking from seems to be so small in a way. One other player that I don't think has been mentioned, Robinson. Don't mind him. Plays pretty advanced. Fixtures are reasonably good in the short term. Fulham are a solid team. One of the better defences. I mean, we'll have a look. Let's have a look specifically at the best defences so far this season. But Robinson could be a shout. But yeah, no, we've not got too much. Right, expected goals conceded per start. Mark says Dallo. I don't know. Do you trust Man United? If you do, go for it. I don't know if I want to spend that amount of money on a Man United defender. I mean, you could. But like, it's kind of like there are limited options / loads of options. Because if everyone's as bad as each other, then I feel like to a degree, you can pick any defender. As long as they start regularly, you've got just as much chance of a clean sheet as any other team, really. Mikalenko, maybe you could go for if you think that Everton defense is going to improve. But this is what we're looking at the moment. So, quick chat here from Rev says, shout out to everyone getting their weekly Palmer beat down. Yeah, still no Palmer for you, Rev. Well, that is something. To be fair, I think next 2 for Palmer are a little bit. You should be. If you don't own Palmer over the next 2 game weeks, I think it will be a little bit better than it has been in previous game weeks. But anyway, Liverpool way out in front for XGC per game. And then we've got Man City, Chelsea, Aston Villa and Arsenal in this block of 4. But it's really tight between these teams. You know, the difference between Man City, 1 XGC per game, compared to like Everton at 1.6 or, you know, Brighton 1.5, even West Ham 1.4. So as long as you're not picking from Ipswich, Southampton, Leicester, Wolves is an interesting one because they have had poor fixtures. And if we're talking about, by the way, we're talking purely on clean sheets. So Aït-Nouri is great for other reasons. Brentford, maybe not so good. Everton, could they improve maybe? There's so many right answers. You can maybe even go for a chat. I mean, is this enough to tip people over on the Reece James? I know he's been a very trolly kind of FPL asset in the past, and he does get injured pretty frequently. But 4.9 million for old time's sake with Reece James. Maybe if the fixtures were a little bit better. Man United away, Arsenal at home, I don't love. But from 12 onwards, if James is still fit and you can, you know, if even if he just stays fit between December and January or December and February, that's enough, right? For 4.9 million. Super differential as well. I don't know. Maybe. It's one to think about. But no, if you've got Gabriel, you need someone now, really, don't you? So it's tough. I think my recommendations for a defender would probably be Robinson, Gvardiol, and Ait-Nouri. And I would probably go as far as saying you can get points from... Okay, we'll throw Konate in there as well. You probably can get points from some other players, like maybe Mikalenko, for example. But it's going to be a bit random. So, yeah. That's how many players. So, who are the replacements? Gvardiol, Ait-Nouri. Who else did we say? We said Robinson, Mikalenko. That's 4. Samir, yes. Ait-Nouri is on 4 yellow cards. We mentioned that before. If you've got someone on your bench, I don't think it's a big issue. Konsa, nah, I don't think so. I think we'd be looking for a defender really with a bit of attacking threat, because clean sheets are just a myth. So I would definitely want. I mean, actually, that's a great idea. Let's have a look at defenders with the most attacking threat so far this season. That could actually open our eyes a little bit. So on the Opta stats, we're going to go. Let's just go. Expected goal involvements. And we see Trent at the top. No surprise here. He's way out in first here, by the way. 3 expected assists now this season and 0.4 XG. And yeah, he's only got 1 assist. The variance is going to... Anyone who is betting against Trent, the variance is going to come for you. It swings one way, but it'll swing back the other. The pendulum of Trent will swing back in his favour when he starts getting some of these attacking returns, because his creativity is endless. Davis is here, but really weak defence. But if you think you can maybe do something, I mean, what's his fixtures like? Oh no, I shouldn't have done that. I should not have done that. Should have opened in a new tab. Davis, fixtures. Let's go. Let's find the Ipswich. That's Fulham. Apologies, guys. So Leicester next. Spurs away. Man United home. Forest, Palace, Bournemouth, Wolves. Could be worse. Could be worse. You would really be depending on attacking returns with him, as you would with Emerson. And then we've got Collins here again. Davis, Emerson, Collins, all showing some attacking threat, but playing for really weak defenses. Really weak. Gvardiol is picking up here as well a little bit, which is nice. Ait-Nouri's got the form going on for him. Yeah, there's not much. I don't know. Azara says Trent is playing a new role. I mean, as with any football game, depending on which opponent you face, you will play a slightly different role. Certainly against Chelsea, we did see Trent was far more reserved, but ultimately, in general this season, he is still playing an advanced role, which is creative. He's still taking all of those set pieces, and the underlying numbers speak for themselves. You can't say that Trent has not been as attacking this season, because this is crazy. Arachna says, don't skip Digne. He's been great. I mean, if you already have him, I'm sure he has been great for you, but would you really buy Digne in this run of fixtures? I mean, this is a horror show run of fixtures. You want to buy Digne against Spurs away, Liverpool away, Chelsea away in the next 4. Even Brentford are a great attacking team. They're just a weak defence. This is just... I don't know. Like, fair enough if you already have Digne and you've been picking up points from him. But... he's got a clean sheet there because of an early sub. He's got an assist there from a 0.04 XA. Clean sheet against Manchester United. But I think if you don't already have him, There's no way I would be buying him. Not a chance. No way. TS says Jackson is the guy. What for your Gabriel replacement? I'm not sure about that one, Chief. But no, Jackson is doing well. Continues to do well. Another early sub for him today, but he's scoring pretty consistently. When you play alongside someone like Cole Palmer, you are going to get chances. And I think Jackson is criminally underrated. A lot of people think he's a poor finisher, but again, he's proving that he's not. The one concern, like if you already have Gabriel, fair enough. If you already have Jackson, fair enough. But would I be buying him now for the next 2 fixtures? No. And also, the great thing about forwards right now, particularly if you want to spend more in midfield, is that there are so many great cheap forwards. Let's just go for the past, I don't know, 5 game weeks. Is that 5 game weeks? Is that 6? All right, let's do 6 game weeks. And you can see that some of the top forwards are really quite cheap here. So we've got Raul Jimenez putting up similar numbers to Jackson, and Jimenez will be on penalties. By the way, I bought Raul Jimenez in game week 9. He played brilliantly, but unfortunately he couldn't get the points. We've got players like Welbeck performing. Vardy is, if you already have Vardy, he's great. Wood doing really well. Huge overperformance, but still. And even players like Strand Larson and Cunha, I think are players that are going to come into the conversation very, very soon. That's if they haven't done already. Some people will be saying them. Wissa, brilliant when he's fit. Now he's back. Amazing. So there's so many of these forwards in this cheap price tag. I mean, let's just check the ones. I mean, we spoke about these last week, to be fair, so maybe some of you guys went for these already. But these guys are so cheap, and they enable you to do so much in other areas of the pitch. They almost make players like Solanke and Havertz and Jackson kind of redundant. Even Watkins. If you're sticking with Haaland, then having 2 of these cheap forwards alongside him, and then spending the money in midfield and going for basically 2 of Salah, Saka, Palmer. 2 out of 3 of those. Have those cheap attackers alongside Haaland. Oh, mwah, beautiful. Beautiful stuff. Really, really nice indeed. I'll definitely be adding one of these to my team very, very soon. I mean, to be fair, I've already, for this week, I'm going to stick with Vardy. But after this week, I cannot wait to get my grubby little mitts on one of these. I still haven't decided who. Could be Welbeck. The other player is João Pedro, who should be back and available soon. What could be quite interesting is find Brighton's fixtures, because Brighton's fixtures get good from, is it game week 11? No, okay, 12. Well, 13 really. I wonder if this would be a nice run to own Welbeck for. Not bad, not bad. I'll probably end up, because I'll be making a transfer in 11 though, it makes sense to go for a Wolves player for me, because they play Southampton in that week. Ferguson, he was your nemesis before. No, I don't think we'll be touching Ferguson. The rotation risk is too damn high. Too damn high. So I don't think we'll be going there. Right, so we've covered triple captain, we've covered Gabriel replacements, we've looked at cheap forwards. Those were the 3 main things I wanted to talk about today. Do we just go to the crowd? Do we just say, chat, what do you want to talk about for the rest of the stream? We could do, couldn't we? All right, let's do that. Well, guys, if you're not subscribed, make sure you are, because if you're subscribed, you can chat. Let's answer some questions. I got through my stuff a little quicker than I thought I would today. But yeah, any questions you have, the more general they are, the more likely I'll be to answer them. If you're asking a question that is very specific to your team, I'll be honest, I probably won't answer it, because I need to make sure this stream and the stream replay, for those watching this as a replay, I want to make sure it is interesting for everyone. Clark says, best single game week triple captains left. There was a tweet from FPL Thorpe that we had a look at on Friday. where he did indeed detail the... So shout out FPL Thorpe. He did detail when they were... Although I don't... Oh, here we go. Right. And by the way, I'm actually going to exclude Leicester. I think it's a little harsh to put Leicester in the same boat as Ipswich and Southampton. But, so Haaland, if you're looking to triple captain a premium player in a home fixture against one of Ipswich or Southampton, then that's probably what I'd be looking to do if I was to go for a single game week. Well, Salah against Ipswich in 23. We've got Salah versus Southampton in 28. And then we've got Palmer, Southampton in 27. And Palmer in 32 there against Ipswich as well. So there you go. Hopefully that answers. Best wildcard week? Not sure really. Game week 12 is going to work well for a lot of people. Particularly if you don't have Palmer, I would say. If you don't have Palmer, game week 12 could be very, very nice indeed. I mean, is my team set up for a potential game week 12 wildcard? I'm still thinking about it. I don't know if I need it or not. If I had injuries, then maybe, but yeah, no, we're good for now. Son to Salah for a 4-point hit. Would I do it for a hit? Depends what the other transfer was. If you're selling Gabriel, like regardless, and you're downgrading to like an Ait-Nouri or someone, and you feel like you have that set, you know, you want to make that additional transfer to move Son to Salah, then there's nothing wrong with that. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. Could be pretty nice. How risky is it to go without Haaland from next week? It is always risky to go without Haaland. Always risky. And that's just because you are going to be competing with so many people who do have Haaland. Now, even if selling Haaland becomes super popular this week, we're still going to see him at 65% owned or more. So in the best case scenario for you, you are going to be competing against 2 out of 3 Haaland owners. So it's going to be rough. It really is. There are the fixtures coming up next. They're not great, but they're not games that you think Haaland will just blank in all of these fixtures. You know, Haaland will score goals in this one. The key is to replace him with someone who can score, maybe nearly as much as him. If you can find someone who you think will score nearly as much as him and then reinvest the money in other areas to greatly improve your team, then it's absolutely fine. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter how many points Haaland scores if you don't have him, as long as you've replaced the money that you spent on Haaland on other players who are outscoring him, which is definitely possible. It's definitely possible. But you're probably going to see him brace in one of these games. You may even see him get a couple of braces, maybe a hat-trick in this run of games. That's what he does. That's what he does. And if game week 9 is anything to go by, he is going to get chances to score. He is going to get chances to score. But let's see. Let's see. I think it's definitely viable to sell Haaland if you wanted to. I don't think there's a wrong answer here. I think it's fine to keep him. I think it's fine to sell him too. It's kind of up to you. If you feel disappointed by him, then fair enough. I have no plans to sell him this game week personally. I think if you pushed me, I would maybe, if you're in game week 12 wildcard and you can easily redistribute the funds, then great. Or if you're just sick of Haaland, then sell him. It's up to you. It's up to you. Right. Why Haaland didn't receive any bonus points when he has 6 points, same as Gabriel. Haaland didn't receive any bonus points because he missed 2 big chances, which damages him in the bonus point system. Samir says Haaland, Salah and Palmer look like a must-have. Did you watch Saka today? You're going to have to lose someone. Any Haaland, Salah, Palmer, Saka drafts out there? That would be interesting. Should we try and see if we can make one real quick? Let's see if this is possible to have all 4 of those guys. You would really have to go super cheap elsewhere, but it might be possible. So we'd have to go for a really cheap goalkeeper. 4.5 or less. Henderson, maybe. And then our other goalkeeper would have to be a 4 million. We need to pick some cheap defenders. So Nori would be 1. And then we'd probably take like a Forest defender. Take a Forest defender. I mean, you really can take any, but let's choose Ina. They're all 4.5, aren't they? Actually, is Moreno 4.4? Risky though, isn't it? It is risky, a little bit risky with him. You're not sure if he's 100% nailed, but all right. Let's go 4.5 Ina, but I understand the logic behind going for whoever there. So Mikalenko as well. We need at least one super cheap defender. So let's go Vandenberg. And then we'll come back to that. In midfield, oh my God, we've got 25 million left to spend on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 players. All right, so they need to average 5 million each. Okay, right, we can do this. So, cheapest... Okay, Rodgers is going to be helpful. Smith Rowe and Semenyo are the other two, most likely. Let's say... Oh, I want to spend a bit more on the forwards, to be honest. Okay, Raul Jimenez would go in here. Wissa. Oh, this is tough. This is really tough. And then, okay, Dibbling. And I think if your team value, most of you guys, your team value will be at least 101 million, right? So we can maybe spend 4.8 on this final defender. And then maybe go for Lewis. So if your budget is 101 million or more, then it is possible. It is technically possible. And your team would look a little something like who would you bench here? Maybe like that. Something like that. You know what? That is not the worst team I've ever seen. Razak says it's without Mbeumo. Well, yeah, it is without Mbeumo, but there's only so much you can do when you want Salah, Palmer, Saka, Haaland. But it is possible. Moko says that bench is terrible. What were you expecting, my friend? What were you expecting? You thought we would have Salah, Palmer, Saka, Haaland, but also have Gvardiol, Trent, Gabriel, well, he's injured, Raya in goal. Come on, cut me some slack. We've just built a team with the 4 guys, and it doesn't look that bad elsewhere. Now, if you think, all right, if these 4 players score like 10 points per week, amazing, on average, maybe. Is that a bit much? Probably a bit much. But let's say these players score like 10 points a week. That's 40 points, plus captain, 50. Raul and Wissa, they're capable of 6 points. Easy. That's another 12 points. Then defence, I mean, we're probably not looking at too much from the defence. Maybe 10 points between them. So low scores in defence and maybe low scores from Rodgers. This team could still, on a good game week, this team is more than capable of scoring like 80, 90 points on a good game week. Because yes, you lose out on defence points. But come on, guys, be honest. How many defense points are you getting right now? Come on. Because I'm seeing a lot of people with a lot of defenders, and not many of them are getting a lot of points. There's also huge potential for 30 points a week. How? It would basically require Haaland, Salah, Palmer, Saka all blanking, as well as the most informed forwards in the league also blanking. Rodgers, who's been in good form, blanking, and all of your defence blanking, and clean sheets are random. If you've got 4 different defences and you try and play the ones in the best fixtures, then you've got a chance of 1 clean sheet out of 4. I would say the chances of this scoring low is pretty low, because all of the players that can, particularly as all of the players that can damage you, if you own 3 of these players, and the one that, say you have Haaland, Salah and Palmer, and Saka goes off and goes on a mad one, you lose rank. But who are you losing rank from here? I mean, I guess we could have a look at like the most owned players right now, who is I guess missing. And Burmo is the player who's most likely to be able to do damage towards you. Raya, Trent, maybe Watkins. But that's the trade-off. You know, you could say, oh, I have no Burmo, but you have Saka instead of Burmo, and that's brilliant. It's not bad, you know. Should we do it? Should I do a video on this? I feel like I could do a whole... Rev, you're saying that there's a YouTube video here. There is a YouTube video here, isn't there? Alright. Okay, well, alright, I will work on that then. That'll give me something to do this evening. Yeah, we'll discuss this further. I might be able to improve this a little bit, because I did make this really quickly. Louis says, just downgrade one of those premiums in the mid. You'll completely miss the point. You've missed the point of this, I guess, thought experiment. You missed it. But anyway, let's go back to questions in the chat. Let's go back to questions in the chat. So, Scott says, do a Game Week 12 wildcard draft in the video too. Nah. I think, I mean, maybe, all right, maybe we'll do one of those quickly now. Because, actually, I am going to save this though, because I want to come back to that. Let's do a Game Week 12 wildcard. So the best way to do that would be to just go to Game Week 12 and then just remove all of the players, and then we can have a look at their fixtures from this point. Although, to be honest, maybe we'll try no Haaland. Let's try no Haaland kind of thing. Let's go Slicker as our bench. Oh no, I don't really want you there. So if you did that, then you could probably get Trent back in. So this is a Game Week 12 wildcard, by the way. We probably want some Arsenal defensive cover. And I think Gabriel will be back by that point. So you could go for him or Raya. Possibly both, you know. With no Haaland, can we afford both? Maybe. Let's throw a 4 million goalkeeper on the bench as well. And then we'll go for a cheap defender like Aït-Nouri. Okay, I can't do that. Right, let's recover you. And then bring Trent back in. I think we'll keep Mikalenko as a bench defender. Probably keep Vandenberg as well. Then we don't spend too much money on defense. And then forwards, Raul Jimenez, I like. And Burmo. I think we go for Jackson in Game Week 12. I like Jackson from 12. And then we've got 8.7 to spend on 2 more players, assuming 100 million budget. But we'll work off 101. Hopefully most of you guys are there or thereabouts. So, midfield first. I think you probably look at maybe a Semenyo. I like Semenyo a lot from that kind of time. And then the final forward. Oh, okay, we're a little bit tight here. We might have to cut some budget somewhere. And that might be either Gabriel or Raya who needs to go. Forward from here is probably going to be maybe a Brighton. Maybe Welbeck. If he can keep up his good form. Or João Pedro, to be fair. Decent value for money. And then if we just remove Raya or Gabriel, difficulty is with Gabriel. There's just not enough defenders right now going around. Where do we go for a cheap defender? Could go for Rodgers, but I think I prefer Semenyo from 12. I think I do. We've got Mikalenko already. Maybe it's Raya that just goes down. Gabriel has an injury. He does, yes. This is a Game Week 12 wildcard, though. I am assuming that Gabriel is back by 12. Or should we assume that he's not back by 12? All right, let's assume he's not. Then that gives us 5 million to spend on one more defender, assuming a 101 million budget. And a Game Week 12 wildcard team might look a little something. Oh, about Lewis Dunk. Yeah. All right, I like that. Oh, this only costs 100.5 million. Ta-da! I think that looks pretty nice. You probably maybe play Vandenberg there. And you would probably play Semenyo ahead of João Pedro for Game Week 12. That's decent, man. That for a game... Well, hang on. Raya needs to go on. That for a Game Week 12 wildcard, that looks pretty good to me. You speak of João Pedro like he's coming back very soon. What makes you so sure? I've heard reports that he is, he's back. He should be back in training within the next week or two. And we're talking, you know, Game Week 12 is going to be a while away. That's after international break, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So it's almost a month away. Game Week 12. So there are going to be a few changes. I think Gabriel will be back by then. I think João Pedro will be back. And even if he's not back by then, you just bench him for that week and then play him the following week against Southampton at home. Very good, very nice. And Burma's fixtures drop off quite a bit. Yeah, but you would certainly want him for probably 12, 13, maybe even 14, 15. I mean, to be fair, a player like Mbeumo, he is such a good FPL asset that he's one of those players that you can quite comfortably just hold through the tough fixtures. He's really good value for money generally, so I think I'd be fine with just holding him through difficult fixtures. If you've got a really difficult one, that's why you're playing with an 8th attacker here as well, who will be João Pedro. So maybe in general, it's going to be a João Pedro, Raul Jimenez, and Antoine Semenyo 3-way rotation. But there's no problem with maybe dropping Mbeumo in some of those weeks as well. But I'd be happy to just play him, really. So yeah, Game Week 12 wildcard, something a little bit like this, actually looks really nice. Honestly, the more I look at this, the more I think, could I possibly wildcard something like this in 12? I like this, man. Quite like this. It's interesting for sure. All right. Well, that's that. Right, let's wrap up this stream. We'll do a few more questions, throw them in the chat, and whilst we're doing that, let's just have a look at some price changes so you guys can be prepared for when a lot of these players are going to be changing in prices. You may get priced out. Be careful. Although I have to say, League Cup is this week. So be wary of League Cup injuries and also injury updates on a few players. We need injury updates on like Wood, McNeil. So yeah. Gabriel should be going up in price tonight. Salah and Palmer look like they could possibly go up in price tonight as well. Going down, we have Mitoma, Enzo, Mazraoui, Duran, Livramento, Timber, and Joelinton. And then over the coming days, Pickford, Nori, and Mbeumo up tomorrow, apparently. And down, Neto, Martinez, Robertson, Maatsen, Luis Diaz, and Kunku. And then we've got the likes of Aina, Jorginho, Rutter, Wissa, a whole bunch of other players to go up/down in the next couple of days as well. Dunk going down would be nice. 4.4 would be decent. Solanke, I know a lot of you guys have him as well. So potential price drop for him in a couple of days' time. But there we have it. Right. Snickerboa says, went to Son instead of Saka. Would you keep? Would you sell Son again or keep? I would keep. I would keep him. Is Gabriel to Gabriel a good move? Yes, he is. Who should I sell Trent for? I don't think you have to sell Trent for anyone. If you want to, then maybe Gabriel or Aït-Nouri. But I don't think Trent is a must sell at all. Particularly this Brighton game, I think you've got a good opportunity there. It's pretty decent. Max says, with clean sheets hard to come by, is it worth removing higher value defenders? No, I think it's maybe time, because clean sheets are happening. It's not that the clean sheets don't exist. It's just that they're difficult to predict. And I think a lot of that is, going to come down to like Arsenal have not been getting clean sheets. And a lot of people have Arsenal defenders. Liverpool have now back-to-back no clean sheets. In fairness, difficult fixtures that Liverpool have had against Arsenal and Chelsea. And I think that has kind of made it seem like there's no clean sheets going around. But there really is. They're just a little bit random. And, some of the best defenses have had tough fixtures. So that's, I think there's something to be said there. But I think really the focus for me would be prioritizing picking defenders who have attacking potential and to a degree ignoring clean sheet potential, not completely ignoring it. I still don't think I'll be buying any Brentford, Ipswich, Southampton defenders, but still. Ali Razor says, was Rashford your differential this week or your mate? Oh, I cannot wait to talk about that. Yeah, by the way, a great reminder to me. Guys, if you haven't done already, check out the Stick to FPL podcast. We'll be uploading... we'll be recording tomorrow and uploading the latest podcast episode, or the Gameweek 10 podcast episode, should go up on Tuesday. And that'll be on the YouTube channel, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, everything. So if you like listening to FPL podcasts, I think you're going to like this one. And if you haven't checked it out already, if we could get to 4,000 subscribers on there this week, that would be really nice as well. Appreciate all the support on that one. But the differential of the week is a weekly thing we do, and it is hilarious. It really is funny. So go ahead and check that out. Right, a couple more questions before we wrap things up. Gabriel to Gvardiol tonight before price rise or wait? It's up to you if you want to take the risk. I think if it was me, see, I'm a little bit too patient with these things, so I probably wouldn't do it, but then I would regret not doing it. So maybe you should. What else have we got here? Who do you reckon is going to be the better FPL asset, Saka or Salah? Probably Salah, but he is 2.8 million more expensive, 2.8 million more expensive. So you pay extra for more points. But in terms of value for money, I think from game week 12, 13 onwards, I think I would prefer to go, if I could only have one of Saka or Salah, I would go for Saka and spend the cash elsewhere in my team, I think. Any chance João Pedro is back this week? There's a small chance, but I don't think it's very likely. One free transfer, Solanke to Cunha. Yeah, maybe. Don't hate it. Don't completely hate it. And I think... Oh, Tabarez says, should I remove Calvert-Lewin ahead of Southampton for Wood or Roll? I would be tempted to sell. Calvert-Lewin because Beto did score off the bench. So I don't think Calvert-Lewin's place in the starting 11 is guaranteed. I don't think you got a guaranteed start from. The other thing with Calvert-Lewin is that even if he does get chances to score, he is a long and historic underperformer. So his finishing is not the best. So there's that other argument there. Even in a good fixture, is he going to be able to finish the chances that he gets? Maybe. Sell Solanke. I would be tempted to sell Solanke now. Yeah, I would be tempted. Thankfully, there's loads of options. Particularly if you can reinvest, downgrade Solanke to a cheaper forward and then reinvest elsewhere. The money you free up, then that could be really nice. But guys, we are going to leave it there. I do appreciate you guys joining me today. Oh, final chat. Pratik says Aït-Nouri versus Ashley Young. That is an Aït-Nouri landslide for me. Do not be buying Ashley Young, surely. But I'll leave it there. Thanks so much, guys, for tuning in to another reaction stream and early thoughts hopefully we covered a lot of good stuff today. I think we did cover a lot of good stuff today. Interesting discussion. If you haven't done already, please do drop a like on the video/stream. That would be massively appreciated. Do subscribe if you're new around here. I'm going to try and get a video out tomorrow. I don't usually upload on a Monday this season, but I kind of want to start uploading on Mondays again. So I probably will do that. But aside from that, thank you so much for watching. Once again, stay tuned for another video tomorrow, and then podcasts and more stuff coming from Tuesday. And yes, I will see you later, mates. Bye-bye.